Hey, everybody. Welcome to our podcast for the love of dog. I'm PJ Rosh. I'm here with Christine. How are you doing today, Christine?
I'm good, thanks. Another Friday.
Happy Friday. We're both trying not to melt. Hopefully, either you're someplace cooler than we are, or you're by a pool or something, and
Yes.
staying cool with your pups. But I think our first story is something that actually, before we even go into that, I have one thing to say. I never watch our podcast, so first, I don't even know what happened the other day. I was watching the podcast, and I think that Christine should be on a news channel. She's so good. She enunciates well, and I sound like I have rocks in my mouth and I've been drinking. So I'm going to make it a concerted effort to enunciate better because honestly, I was listening to myself and I was like, oh my God, is that what I sound
See,
like? So
I feel the opposite. I feel like you have so much energy and I always feel like I'm I'm not that way. I try to be, but
no, you sound great. I sound like I have rocks in my mouth and I've been drinking. So I'm going to try to not sound like that anymore. Okay. All right. Our first story, what I was saying, it dovetails into what we talked about, July 3rd, right before July 4th weekend, told people to keep their dogs safe. And this little guy got away, I think because he got scared of the fireworks in I think it's East Palo Alto, but it's north of us near San Francisco. And he's been missing, and he just got picked up like a few days ago. And he was swimming, and he's been swimming. And who knows how long he's been swimming?
I think it's just proof, even more important, how people need to microchip their dog. I mean, this goes to show this dog, for whatever reason, got out. The owners apparently had been scouring shelters and searching for the dog, so it wasn't, they weren't willy-nilly about looking for her, but yeah, who knows? I don't know how long she was actually in the water, but somebody saw her swimming in the water. I think her name's Prieta. Rescuers came out and got her. She had been treated for exhaustion and actually had facial wounds because the seagulls were trying to attack her, and I'm just this poor dog. But the microchip is what allowed her to get returned quickly back to her owners. So a tag or a collar can fall off anytime, especially if a dog is out loose running around. So just one more reason to reiterate why microchips are so important, because they're not going to fall off. And these people were good about having their contact information up to date. So Prita was taken to the Humane Society, and then I think within like an hour was back with her owner. So a happy ending for Prita, but what a scary couple of weeks for her owner, not knowing if she was dead or alive.
And it could have turned out way worse, especially her being in
Yeah.
the water. When they rescued her, this is a static picture, but when they rescued, you could see she was like, like she had been, like you said, I don't know how long she'd been in there, but she'd been treading water for quite a while. And
Yeah.
she was a little dog. And thank dog for the firefighters. That was a good scoop. They got her. It was great to see. But again, it could have turned out way worse. So please always keep your pets safe when you're not there. And like Christine said, thankfully she was microchipped and she got back to her family safely.
Obviously, this happened over 4th of July weekend and it most likely was due to fireworks, but this type of thing can happen anytime throughout the year. It doesn't have to be, leave a gate open. The dog sitter lets the dog gets out. I mean, things happen. So, again, just a reminder that keep your dog safe at home.
Totally. I mean, I think I mentioned this when we were talking about the fireworks and such, but we had a dog. It wasn't during 4th of July, but and her foster was in the backyard with her. And there was a loud noise. I don't know if it was a car that backfired or some kind of loud noise. And she was a timid dog. And we had never seen her jump anything. The gate was closed. She jumped a 6-foot fence and then a 7-foot, like, because there was two fences, and she got over both of them because she was scared. And that took us like, I don't know, 3 or 4 days or 5 days to get her back. And luckily we did get her back. But again, like you said, it doesn't have to be fireworks. We know that's the worst day of the year for dogs and other pets, just keep them safe. But I'm really glad for the little dog because bless her little heart. She's in a big
Yeah.
body of water, and that could have turned
Swimming.
out.
Yeah, swimming for her life, literally. Those seagulls, those damn seagulls.
Freaking seagulls, I tell you.
They can be brutal.
The pigeons of the beach, you know?
I know.
All right, our next story. So everybody also knows that probably, if you don't know, Central and South Texas has been having some really bad weather, like flooding, which is really sad because they had the floods last year that killed all those people at the camp, including, so many young women and kids. So there's been a lot of rescues, a lot of human rescues because the floods are so bad, and our hearts go out to that. But I think it was really cool, this story. There is something great about a community when they're in need and things are going on, that people step up and help. And, I think most people don't think about when bad weather comes. Like I can think back to Katrina, when when the levees broke. I mean, all the pets get left behind, and a lot of times, even if they're rescuing people and you have your pet, they make you make a decision. They say, if you're not going to leave your pet behind, we're not going to take you. And if you're not going to come, write your social security number on your arm, because you're probably going to die, and that's how we're going to identify you. So it's not much of a choice. So it's really nice to see when people step up. And I know that you have a lot more detail on this story, Christine.
Yeah, so this happened over earlier this week, like between the like Tuesday and Thursday, I think. It was a town called Boerne, and I had never heard of Boerne, so I, of course, had to look up the population, and it's a
I've
small
been
town.
there.
So only 24,000 people. And the rescue was called Charming Pets Rescue. They needed to move 46 dogs temporarily um, to get them safe from the storm. And what amazed me was the fact that in this small town of 24,000 people, that they were able to do that so quickly. And they relied on social media. They put out an appeal on social media asking for temporary foster families, and I mean, got an immediate response. I think areas that live in places with natural disasters that happen more frequently are more inept to get help quickly. Because they're used to it. I mean, this has probably happened before, or in a neighboring town. But the police spread through social media. They had existing volunteers. Those volunteers reached out to family members, friends. They managed within 8 hours to place 46 dogs into 29 different foster homes. So obviously, some took more than one. But I just thought it was amazing that it worked, and that they were successful, and that they sent out this clear message. They needed help, and people responded. One of the things I think people are more, they'll say yes more often when they know it's going to be a temporary situation. So I think, with people being more comfortable with offering a short-term situation versus long term. But I just applaud this community, and it just goes to show that community is so important, and that social media can be a good thing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we hear a lot of bad things about social media, especially when it comes to like young people. So it is nice to see that it works. And it's nice to see a community come together. I'll tell you this, I think, I don't want to put down any bigger communities, but there's something about smaller communities that, they end up, it's just more of like a family, because there are only
Mhm.
24,000 people there. So
Yeah.
it's the whole idea of like everybody knows everybody. And, I think it's just really nice to see, because I know, it's not always the case. But it's nice that people stepped up and helped, because that area has been getting just pummeled. And like I said, there's been a lot of human rescues because the floods have been so quick, and and come up so fast. So it's been overwhelming. So anyway, I'm really glad to see that. I lived in Texas for a lot of years, which is why I've been to Boerne. There's something about the people there who just really will like rally and get together, and it's nice to see that, especially for the pups.
Yeah. And just thinking about all the resources that were saved because they were able to find help. Like they didn't have to send in rescue teams, or, when dogs are getting swept away. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know what the property damage was. I didn't get that far into my digging for details, but I was really happy to see that they were able to find someone for every single dog that they needed help for.
Yeah. And hopefully, maybe as a result, some of these dogs will get adopted. Who
Yes.
knows? I mean, they can be foster failures. Like all
We
the
love
dogs that
those.
come into my house. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What's good news? I think that was the last story we had, right?
Yeah, for today.
I think we
We,
have some
of
good
course, we
news.
have more, but we have to.
Yeah, I know. I didn't think we would go so quickly on these,
I
but
didn't either.
we've had some adoptions. I don't know. I mean, I think we had Oh, PETA got adopted, so we'll probably talk about it and have some pictures next week. But
Rita,
things have been good.
Katniss.
Katniss got adopted, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So, if anybody was following our social media or our virtual event last week, we got Dudley's DNA back, and he's a purebred Cane Corso. Is that right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Everybody always say Cane Corso, so however you want to say it. He made two appearances on our virtual events. If you didn't see that, you should see it because he's just a cute boy.
Yeah, he
But
is.
yeah, we might have a surprise next week about Charlotte. So I will keep that for next week. But yes. Anything else going on? How's Malibu doing?
Malibu's doing good. She's had her water therapy this week, which we're slowly building onto. But July is IVDD Awareness Month, so we've been trying to get out information about our journey with IVDD, sudden onset versus, you know, more
Degenerative.
degenerative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not that either is a fun thing, but I'm glad she had a good long stint of life without any issues. I mean, if it was going to happen, I'm glad it happened when in her older years because she was already slowing down a little bit. But yeah, some adjustments were made. Wheelchair, stroller, everything else, but we're still getting out there on the trails and still enjoying every day.
Awesome. And you guys can follow Christine, on Malibu's Mama on Instagram. So it's very cute. She's a cute little ginger. So follow her. Follow us on the Little Red Dog. And I guess we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.